Hello, everybody. Welcome to our photo gallery from the Georgia Vanderbilt game. A lot of Georgia fans were in attendance. They turned Nashville into Athens West or Athens North, however you want to say it. Too bad a lot of fans missed out on the dog walk. The team couldn't make it. They lost their lead driver. This young fan here, dressed like Jake Fromm, I'm sure he would like to have seen him. And this young fan who painted his hair red. I'm sure he would like to have seen him too. A lot of disappointed dog fans, but that's what happens when you lose your lead driver. Whispering Bill Anderson. Kirby Smart met with him. Country music legend. Damn good dog. Zamir White was warming up. A lot of people were watching him. A lot of people cheering for him. DeAndre Swift, who did not get the start. That was very interesting. I was wrong. I thought he would start. Brian Harry in there beside him got the start. Brian found out a couple weeks in camp that he was going to be the starter, so congrats on Brian. But I was correct in predicting that Harry would get in and rush for about 135. Isaiah Wilson is fine. He got a little banged up there. Trey Hill, first start at center. Big number 55. Cade Mays jumping off sides there in drills. Not a good sign, but he did get the start as predicted. George Pickens earned back his number 1 jersey. He'd been 83 all in camp. Eric Stokes there, our boy from Covington. Tresman Marshall, I believe. Amir Speed made the team. Made the travel roster. He's been on the team, but good to see him up there. And one of your top receivers, Tyler Simmons, 87, had a big game. Trey Blunt was there, as always. Trey is a reliable wide receiver as you will find. Jake Fromm getting his guys fired up before the game started. Azeez Ojulari getting his big start out there, so it's good to see him too. Kirby Smart also getting the team all fired up. Very, very intense pre-game warm-ups. Got Demetrius Robertson there. He had a breakout game. That was fun to watch. Demetrius, a lot of people were expecting him to have a huge year last year, and he did not. But if yesterday was any indication, Demetrius is set for a big year, as is number 1 there, George Pickens. Eli Wolf, the former Tennessee Vol, had a big game for Georgia. We'll touch on that later. Dominic Blaylock, you really didn't see a lot of number 8 yesterday, but I think that will change as the season progresses because Dominic can do a lot of good things for this team. So, Del McGee out there coaching everybody up to, working his offense. Another transfer, Lawrence Gager, number 15. Big body out there. And it was hot. You see Richard LeCount there trying to stay hydrated. It was about 90 degrees out on the field. Again, big number 3, Zamir White Zeus warming up, working on the fumble drill here, working on ball security. That maybe need to work on that a little bit more. All right, the game gets underway, and here's Sullivan McKinley showing what they can do in that first drive, just throwing people around. You see we went from first play, second play, we're already way down the field. Love this give to Tyler Simmons. Tyler's just absolutely flying there. Thought he was going to get in. He got a little upended, if you will. He was close, but Tyler Simmons can absolutely fly and he can fly through the air as well. So great job, Tyler Simmons. Very impressed. Big Jordan Davis, looking good to start camp. To start the game. Tyler Clark playing back to his old form. Azeez Ojulari, as we said, who got the start there at the outside. That was impressive. Tyson Campbell was out there. We thought DJ Daniel would start. He was listed as a starter, but we saw Tyson Campbell a lot. Tay Crowder and Monty Rice were right there as your 1 and 2 inside linebackers, and Tay Crowder showed why he is that guy. He made a lot of tackles, as did J.R. Reed. David Marshall, even there at 51 coming in, showing that David Marshall is back from that Liz Frank injury. So very impressive there. Again, like I said, Tyler Clark just spinning, getting through. This is the Tyler Clark of old. And then Devontae Wyatt. Let's give a shout out to this guy. He played really well. He was in the backfield a lot, threw guys around. Very impressed to see him. Richard LeCount. It's going to be a big year for Richard. I won't say you heard it here first because you've been hearing it for years, but it's good to see him. Michael Barnett, as one of those guys who trooped in and out a lot at that defensive front. They kept that defensive front fresh. They kept bringing them in and out. They rotated linebackers a little less frequency than I expected, but why do you need to when you have Tay Crowder all over the field, as well as Monty Rice? They went side to side. Again, I was talking about Devontae Wyatt. He gives an Olay move here, gets past the tackle, and comes flying into the backfield, grinning ear to ear. He's so happy. He thinks he's going to have a quarterback sandwich. Gets getting a little short. And yeah, that's the look that a lot of, after the first couple series, that's the look that a lot of the uh, not only the Vanderbilt cheerleaders but the Vanderbilt fans had. They're looking at the scoreboard like, I can't watch anymore. I just can't watch. Georgia was having their way with Vandy early on. Big runs everywhere. You see holes open up for DeAndre Swift, and then this long pass to Demetrius Robertson that was called back on a hold. I really thought that that would have been a nice little uh, highlight for not only Demetrius but for Jake Fromm. Then he went back to throwing some of the short ones, but it opened up a little bit. If you can throw those nice long ones there, Demetrius Robertson there, and yeah, or you can just give it to him in space and he'll do this. He'll take off and make you look bad. But just get the ball to Demetrius Robertson a lot, and good things will happen. Thunder Thighs, Trey Hill there had a good game snap the ball. He didn't see any issues with the his work. Matt Landers showing that he is going to be a little more consistent this year, which means he's going to get a lot more play. But back to Trey Hill, that offensive line kept Jake Fromm upright. Not a whole lot of pressures on him. They did try a bunch of twists and stunts toward the second half, gave Jake Fromm some different looks, but then he would just give it to Demetrius Robertson, and again, good things happen. James Cook, as Jim Don always calls him, the Stallion. James Cook showed what he can do. He shows why he is a five-star running back and why he will be on the field, even if you have another running back in the backfield, because you can just put him in the slot and throw it to him, or give it to him on the end and around, give it to him on the jet sweep, give it to him. Just give him the ball too. So there's a lot of guys that you needed to feed. Georgia did a great job, and I hope you saw that block there by number 17, Eli Wolf. That guy was blocking everywhere. I know he was not highly rated. A lot of people kind of roll their eyes. If it's not a five-star, they don't pay attention. And just like people miss that hold there, you need to pay attention to the guys who are productive, not their rankings. Tay Crowder was not a highly ranked linebacker. In fact, he was ranked as a running back because that's what he came out of high school as. And he was all over the field. Now, Nolan Smith, five-star a five-star outside linebacker. Yeah, he's played up to his level. But the guys like Eric Stokes there, 27, three-star, but he's a starter on the Georgia Bulldogs. So don't always go by the rankings. Go by their production. That's what you need to look at. I got to like when the guys get in the backfield and the big defensive men can cheer a little bit. It's always fun to watch those guys. Georgia's back to run the ball with ease. You see Ben Cleveland opening a hole there. DeAndre Swift comes flying through. And then, again, Lawrence Cager, 15. He's making a block downfield. Cade Mays and Ben Cleveland at that right guard spot rotated a good bit. And here's your reward. Hey, Lawrence Cager, you were blocking well. Here's the ball. Let's see what you can do with it. The Miami transfer, I thought, played a very strong game. He did exactly what he needed to. He needed to block. He did. When he got the ball, he made the most of it. He's a tough body to bring down. You see he runs through a few guys. So very impressive. Quiet night for Jake Fromm. He didn't have to put up some of the crazy numbers. He just had to get the ball into the right hands, and he absolutely did that. He got Georgia into the right plays repeatedly. If it was if he needed to get into a run, he'd hand it to DeAndre Swift. Even if they had a pass called, he would see what the defense was doing and switch out. Rodrigo Blankenship wanted to put every ball out of the back of the end zone, but Kirby Smart told him not to. Oh, there you go. Trayvon Walker, 44. Another five-star. So, again, I'll mention their stars rankings, but again, don't look at that. Look at their production. And when you see Trayvon Walker get in there and bring people to their knees, in the backfield as a true freshman, that's pretty impressive. Mr. Justin Young, 92. He was the one cheering earlier. Good to see a fifth-year guy mature and get into that role and have a big day. From Justin Young from Grayson. When he was leaving the field, he was actually saying that I hate this field. It makes my feet hurt. Teased him a little bit about that. So, but there's nothing wrong with the field. It's just he was just happy to get out of there. And let's go back to the action here. DJ Daniel, another JUCO transfer, number 14. Very solid tackler. Shows why he was listed as the starter on the squad and why he was getting number 1 reps. Sound tackler, sound cover guy. Georgia secondary is set up here. How did this ball get in? Here comes Big Jordan Davis. He bats the ball. He thinks he's got a blocked field goal. He's jumping up and down the mountain that jumps. I mean, look at this guy flying through the air, and then he turns around and realizes that the ball he actually hit, blocked, went through the uprights. So he's a little bit upset there. Again, here's why mere speed makes the team. He's on the kick return team. So let's see here. Charlie Warner, he actually threw to a tight end. Very nice to see. A couple of those guys got the balls. Crazy play here to Tyson Simmons. Would like to have seen that one come through. Jake Camarda only had to punt twice. When you only have to punt twice, that is a good day, and there's a good hold. And his punts averaged 54 yards a punt. That's the kind of Jake Camarda that Georgia needs and what Georgia's looking for. Little defensive tete-a-tete there on the sideline as Kirby is trying to rally his troops. And that was the other score for Vandy. 2 field goals, and that was it. A lot of Nate McBride and a lot of the defensive players were very happy to keep Vandy from scoring a touchdown. Jake Fromm, like I said, good day. He was absolutely your leader, did everything with the offense. Threw his first touchdown pass to Demetrius Robertson there. Demetrius' first carry last year was a touchdown. His first catch this year is a touchdown. So Fromm gives him a whack on the butt, saying good job, and they take off. Another touchdown, this one from James Cook, a different angle of the pictures I was showing you earlier, different camera. Here he comes just rotating in and tosses the ball to the ref, says, hey, that was too easy. I'll do it again next week. Big Ben Cleveland and Charlie Warner. Again, upperclassman leadership there. You absolutely need it. Isaiah Wilson, like I said, he got banged up, but he came back in. You can see 89 here, Charlie Warner throwing a big block there for DeAndre Swift. That's absolutely what you need. It didn't quite get in, but then they brought in this jumbo package here. And there's Brian Harrion, who scoots through, lands in the end zone, takes a knee to the face because, hey, if you're going to score, we absolutely must knee you in the face. And he looks over, he's checking the line, and sure enough, Brian Harrion gets his touchdown and gets the lift. Don't put Brian in a corner. Steven Nixon, your starter at long snapper, number 59. We had a great story about him Saturday. You need to go back and read it. Andrew Thomas did Andrew Thomas things, kept Jake Fromm from he was very clean. I think they only got to him like maybe one time. And it wasn't a sack. I think they just maybe hit him. But Jake Fromm quite clean after that game. This is how you stop Trayvon Walker. You throat punch him. That's where it seems to work, And then they Quay Walker, 25, coming in there. Some isolation shots for stories we're doing. J.R. Reed, Aziz Ojulari. Sometimes you just need a photograph of the guys as they're playing. Can you spot yourself? Anybody see themselves? If so, leave a note in the comments there. And this is when they say swarm to the ball. This is exactly what you want to see. 4 or 5 guys. Affecting the quarterback, getting to him, pressuring him. That's the Tyler Clark we saw 2 years ago. Tyler Clark did that often in the game, and it's quite impressive. I thought Simmons did a great job in the return game. Every time he touched the ball, he showed that track speed that Kirby Smart went after him for. And over here was Trey Hill talking to his offensive lineman. It's like, wait, you're the youngest guy out here, and you're telling us what to do? But see John Fitzpatrick there, 86, and Charlie Warner, 89 together. They are running a few 2 tight end sets. That seemed a little surprising. Shouldn't be, because Georgia does it a lot, but it's good to see that even that thin tight end room has enough players out there to actually run their 2 tight end sets. Here's Brian Harrion taking off again. Brian Harrion was tough to tackle, and it's a lot easier to run when you have guys like Solomon Kidley going downfield, climbing to that second level, taking on safeties, quarterbacks, inside linebackers, and everybody. He just has such a fun time climbing. So, I love this play here. Big 99, Jordan Davis bursts through the line, jumps up, and lands on this poor, I was going to say midget, but that's mean. Small running back, and just kind of lands on him and squashes him. Jermaine Johnson, the other JUCO transfer that was very highly rated, he got in the game, showed some quickness, showed why Georgia wanted him so badly. Monty Rice, you don't see a lot of pictures of Monty Rice because he's always in the middle of the field. He's always in the scrum. He's always banging into guys. But the best part of the night for me was watching Zamir White get his run, watching the entire crowd go absolutely bonkers. Knowing a guy who's had such a hard time, seeing him come out, seeing all the crowd support, and then later on he got lathered up. They started feeding him the ball, and he was getting really excited. He had a fumble, but Oh, here's a nice little crash between Justin Young and Devontae Wyatt. They hit this kid at the same time. Kind of cruel. Again, if you're worst case scenario, just give the ball to Tyler Simmons or Demetrius Robertson. Good things are going to happen when you do that. This was a hell of a hit. I mean, you got to hate it for Kyrus Jackson. He has a huge play, and he gets hit, and then he gets dumped to the ground. He was having X-rays done last night on his hand, so I hate that he fumbled that ball, but Kyrus Jackson showing what he could do. So everybody at this point of the game is starting to get in on the fun. Eli Wolf even gets a pass here. They're still feeding DeAndre Swift. Georgia wanted to score another touchdown, and they didn't in that second half there. It was just a bunch of field goals, and Kirby Smart wasn't happy with that. So he might have, I don't want to say left the starters in longer than you would think, but they hadn't scored enough. So I was only towards the very end where we started seeing guys like Mikael Carter, 76 there, come in. Tariq McGee, some of the others, to get more experience when the game was truly well decided. But you could have seen a situation. Oh, Jermaine Johnson, again, he gets a little strip there. Michael Barnett's excited. Richard LeCount's excited. They get the ball back. Again, another havoc play. The quarterback fumbles it, team recovers it, and they get excited, and the spike pads come out. And again, right back to your starters. Hand the ball to DeAndre Swift behind that offensive line. Georgia wanted to score one more touchdown. They were subbing on defense, not so much subbing on offense. They're feeding your big boys. Justin Schaefer gets in. Towards the end, I think they kind of gave up on the whole touchdown thing. They started bringing a lot more people. There's Tariq Stevenson, Nate McBride's back at inside linebacker. So at this point, the game's really out of hand. I have some more action photos, but let's look at some of the reaction, post-game reaction. There's Xavier Truss, 73, walking off with Stetson Bennett. Grins everywhere. DJ Daniels after his first game. Kind of excited. Devontae Wyatt, Tyler Clark, knowing that defensive front had a big game. They're all very excited. They were cheering and happy. Good to see the big defensive hogs. I love this photo. Brian Harrion can't quite reach up on Big Ben Cleveland, but you thank your offensive lineman who did all the work for you. Your secondary guys, Eric Stokes, Channing Tindall, who caught a lot of grief earlier in the game from Kirby, but he was quite happy when he walked off. Cade Mays, strong game from him. Again, Michael Barnett leading with the chain. And look at this smile from Zeus, the guy who always looks so serious. He was so happy to be back and to get his first carries. Kirby Smart walks off, thumbs up. You beat the spread. You have a lot of issues you can fix. Jake Fromm also mentioned some of that. He says, look, these are small things we can tweak. But let's get back to some of the action, folks. Action shots. Here is Azeez Ojulari when they finally sent him and Channing Tindall. They both arrive in the backfield from two different angles and absolutely take out the quarterback. Big play there. Azeez showing why he is a starter. Had just completely transformed his body. He's gigantic now, and he's fast. And when they want those havoc plays, I think they just need to cut him loose and let him go. Justin Young, again, gotta love a fifth-year starter. A fifth-year senior who gets a start, who matures, who doesn't give up on playing time, and shows you what he can do. And this is what I was trying to say about Carter getting through there, just doing his stuff. So George Pickens, they targeted him a few times, but he didn't. The ball wasn't quite where he needed it to be, and I think they're going to start targeting him a lot more in the future. Anyway, thanks everybody for your time, and be sure to subscribe to UGAsports.com.